Mikel Arteta may have overcomplicated his tactical approach against Pep Guardiola, and Arsenal ended up giving Manchester City far too much respect. There's nothing quite like the thrill of a last-minute goal. The surge of adrenaline, the flood of emotion that makes every second on the pitch feel worthwhile. This season, Liverpool have often been the masters of these dramatic finishes, scoring late winners that seal victories. Arsenal's Gabriel Martinelli, however, scored a late goal that rescued a point rather than clinching a win. Yet, it was still a moment that gave Arsenal the final word against Manchester City. Eberechi Eze delivered a perfectly weighted lofted pass to Martinelli, who finished with remarkable composure. After what was a strange yet captivating afternoon at the Emirates, Arteta was naturally questioned about whether his starting lineup was a misstep. Should his so-called finishers have started the match instead of coming off the bench? Arsenal could have suffered a heavier defeat, but there was a lingering feeling that the team left something on the field, that their performance could have been far better. City, who largely parked the bus in a defensive setup, seemed to escape with a fortunate point. Arteta openly admitted he was very disappointed with the result, but he stopped short of agreeing that his team selection was the problem. "It's too easy to say that, I think," he remarked, a phrase that perhaps revealed more than intended and highlighted one of the many ironies in this curious 1-1 draw. The big question remains, did Arteta overthink his game plan against one of football's most notorious tacticians, Pep Guardiola? Arsenal certainly showed City more respect than almost any other team has in the past year. And to be fair, there was some logic behind that cautious approach. Insider reports suggest Arteta and his coaching staff were aware that City's new pressing system has been physically draining for them, especially around the 60-minute mark. A prime example was their 2-1 loss to Brighton. Their fatigue seemed to set in. Compounding this, Rodri hasn't yet regained the physical dominance we're used to seeing from him. This should have been the perfect window for Arsenal to introduce fresh attacking players and disrupt City's rhythm. Additionally, Arteta wanted to capitalize on the positive momentum of certain in-form players. Leandro Trossard had recently scored and assisted against Athletic Club. Mikel Merino was showing strong performances, and Noni Madueke had an electrifying start to his Arsenal career. But in this match, it all felt like too much, too many variables, too much tinkering. Even during the game, Arsenal seemed to be overthinking their play. Their build-up was cautious and lacked the spark needed to break down City's defense. This was starkly highlighted when Erling Haaland burst through to score a brilliant opening goal. The move was so direct and straightforward, it was clear from the moment Haaland and Tijani Reinders started their run that a goal was coming. In contrast, Arsenal's play was tangled and complicated. In essence, Arsenal made things more complex than necessary, right down to the puzzling decision to start nearly all their best attackers on the bench. Meanwhile, Haaland made football look simple. His goal also underscored another key irony of the match. City's lineup was stripped back, though not entirely minimalist. Rodri remained a key presence and Reinders brought quality. But you could almost sum it up as having one big imposing figure at the back and one up front. Gigi Donnarumma's goalkeeping kept the team in the game, while Haaland's finishing put them ahead. This setup is reminiscent of Real Madrid in the mid-2000s. When Iker Casillas was the last line of defense and Ronaldo was the lethal striker. However, that wasn't the comparison most onlookers were making during this game. Instead, many were reminded of Internazionale's defensive masterclass against Guardiola's Barcelona in the 2009-10 season. There were moments when City's entire lineup seemed packed into their own penalty area, with Haaland more often clearing the ball than shooting. City's possession was just 32.8%, the lowest in Guardiola's managerial career. Despite the focus on the two big men, City's defenders, especially Josko Gvardiol and Nico O'Reilly, were outstanding, throwing their bodies in front of countless attempts. It's hard to imagine Guardiola pacing the touchline in 2010, frustrated as he tried to unlock Jose Mourinho's famously packed defense. This defensive approach seemed to contradict every principle Guardiola is known for, and the manager himself acknowledged that Arsenal's similar tactics were a complement to his team. This brings us to a fascinating paradox, and perhaps a hint of overthinking. Guardiola revolutionized football with his principles, but the game has evolved. The environment around those principles has shifted. In fact, the most Guardiola-like move now might be to do something completely different when everyone else tries to imitate him. He's blending the old with the new. In an era dominated by short passes and slow build-up play through the right back, City opted to launch long balls to their big striker. In a time when set pieces are meticulously choreographed like space missions, their goalkeeper Donnarumma was knocking everything clear. Arsenal struggled with corners more than in any game over the past 2 years. Could this be a sign of an inevitable evolution? A tactical arms race where set-piece coaches must now devise new strategies to counter opposition goalkeepers? Donnarumma even seemed to get inside Arsenal's heads, deliberately slowing down kickouts until he was booked. A classic Mourinho-esque psychological tactic. And then came the final twist. When City finally pushed forward and left space behind their defense, Eze seized the opportunity, setting up Martinelli to score. Arsenal were left to rue what might have been. City both dropped 2 points and somehow escaped with 1. There's so much to unpack here. Yet while Arteta is left pondering these complexities, Liverpool just keep on winning. So what do you think? Was Arteta's cautious approach a smart nod to Guardiola's strengths? Or did it show a lack of confidence in Arsenal's attacking potential? Is this the future of tactical football, overthinking every move? Or should teams trust their instincts more? Share your thoughts below, and let's get the debate going.